Arukard. Arukard is one of the most dangerous fictional vampires ever created. He's not just some bloodsucker lurking in the shadows. He's a living weapon created and controlled by the Hellsing family to wipe out other vampires. Arukard was captured over 100 years ago by the first head of the Hellsing family, and since then, he's become their ultimate tool, loyal only to Integra Hellsing, the current leader. He's not out hunting humans, he's hunting rogue vampires. He mocks his enemies, lets them attack first, then rips them apart. He especially hates vampires who kill for no reason and sees them as pathetic fakes. He enjoys the thrill of battle and loves pushing opponents to their limits just to see how they'll react. He's bored of fighting weaklings and constantly searches for someone strong enough to be a challenge. Alucard's personality is hard to pin down. He's not just a monster, there's a weird sense of humanity underneath. He respects bravery, especially from humans who refuse to back down. His relationship with Integra shows that. She first met him when she was a child running from her murderous uncle. Alucard offered to help her if she set him free. When she refused to take orders from a vampire, he realized she was worthy of being his master. From that moment on, he followed her not just out of loyalty, but because he admired her will. He also respects allies like Walter, the butler who designed Alucard's signature weapons, the massive pistols known as the Cassot and the Jackal. The Cassot fires 13mm explosive silver rounds, and the Jackal fires armor-piercing rounds and weighs a ridiculous 16 kilograms, something only Arukard could wield. Walter and Arucard's bond goes way back, and Arukard even praises Walter's craftsmanship after receiving the Jackal. On the enemy side, Arukard faced off against powerful enemies such as Incognito, Luke Valentine, and Alexander Andersson. Incognito was one of the few enemies Arukard actually looked forward to fighting. He called him a real enemy and was impressed by his strength and ruthlessness. Their battle in London was brutal, ending with Arukard killing him in a gruesome way, proving he only gives his all against those he deems worthy. Then there's Andersson, a regenerating priest who fights with bayonets. At first, Arukard thought Andersson was beneath him, but once he saw how far Andersson was willing to go, even biting a blade to keep fighting, he started to respect him. Arukard even said only a human can kill a monster like him, implying that Andersson's humanity gave him the right to try. Luke Valentine was another vampire who Arukard thought would be strong, but he turned out to be a coward. When Luke realized he couldn't win, he ran, and that disappointed Arukard so much that he called him dog food before devouring him. Arukard is practically unstoppable. His body is made of shadows. He can regenerate from almost any damage, and he has an ability called the Control Art Restriction System, which unlocks more of his true form. The anime doesn't explain it in full detail, but the higher the level he releases, the less human he becomes. At full release, he's basically a godlike being. Incognito. Incognito is not just a villain. He's the final boss of the series, the one that even Arukard saw as a real threat. He comes from the Dark Continent, which is a vague reference to Africa, and while his look is kind of androgynous, he's usually seen as male. The guy is sadistic, loves destruction, and lives only to cause total ruin. He's all about pain, chaos, and power. His quotes pretty much sum him up. He literally says he was born to destroy everything. Right from the start, Incognito sets himself apart. He doesn't sneak around like other vampires. He shows up, takes over a castle, performs a blood ritual on a random guy, and starts unleashing hell. When the British SAS's 22nd Regiment storms the place, he just walks through them using dark magic. He even sends a Baobhan Sith named Bubensy to try to turn Integra Hellsing into a vampire. While most enemies ran from Arukard, Incognito stood his ground and even went toe-to-toe with him in their first fight. Arukard had to leave when Integra was in danger, but Incognito didn't let up. He took the soldiers from the SAS and turned them into freak vampires, then ordered them to attack major British landmarks like Cambridge and Trafalgar Square. One of the creepiest moments was when Incognito found Helena, a vampire oracle. He straight up devoured her. Later, Seras Victoria tried to fight him, but was completely outmatched. Helena's corpse actually popped out of Incognito's stomach, but he casually decapitated her again and walked away like it was nothing. Things got worse when he manipulated events to make the Hellsing organization look like terrorists. He baited the British army into turning against Hellsing, which added more chaos to the mess. During the chaos, he fought Alucard and Seras again. This time, he actually managed to shoot Alucard with his own weapon, the Jackal, which nearly killed him, and he seriously injured Seras. At this point, Incognito had Integra kidnapped and was getting ready to perform a ritual to summon an ancient god named Set. His goal wasn't just to kill people, he wanted to bring about massive destruction on a supernatural level, but Arukard didn't stay dead. After Integra gave the command, he activated his level 1 restriction, basically unlocking his full power. The final fight between Arukard and Incognito went down at the Tower of London, and it was brutal. Even then, Incognito was hard to kill. He used everything he had, dark magic, rituals, summoning, but in the end, he was no match for Arukard's full power. Right before he died, Incognito asked Arukard who he really was. Arukard briefly revealed his real identity as Vlad the Impaler, also known as Dracula. Dracula and then impaled Incognito, finally killing him for good. Vicar. The Vicar appears early in the story and is the cause of the Cheddar Village incident. Even though he's a minor villain, he makes a strong impression right away by being completely twisted. He's a real vampire, not some artificial freak, and he wasn't created by Arukard, which is rare in the Hellsing world. The Vicar shows up in Cheddar Village posing as a clergyman. He barely comes out during the day, and when he does, it's only on the cloudiest days, keeping his face hidden under a hood. At first, he blends in, but soon he starts attacking people. His first victim was a teenage boy, and then 10 more people disappeared. By the time local police realized something was wrong, it was already too late. They tried to raid his church at night, but that was the worst possible timing. The Vicar, now fully transformed into a vampire, killed most of them. The situation got so bad that the Hellsing organization had to step in. This is where Saras Victoria enters. She was still working with the police at this point and got called in with her unit to handle the chaos. But the Vicar had built up a small army of ghouls, mindless undead slaves he created from his victims, and he ambushed Seras. He was sadistic and disgusting, planning to sexually assault her before turning her into a ghoul. He didn't even want her as a proper vampire. He just wanted obedient, brain-dead slaves. Just when things were looking really bad for Seras, Arukard showed up. Sent by Sir Integra, Arukard arrived as Hellsing's enforcer to clean up the mess. The Vicar tried to use Seras as a hostage, but it didn't work. Arukard shot him in the heart and then finished the job by impaling him. The ghoul army he built was wiped out soon after. Seras Victoria. Seras Victoria, also known as Draculina or just Police Girl, starts out as a rookie cop but becomes one of the strongest and most important vampires in the Hellsing series. She was turned into a vampire by Alucard himself during the Cheddar Village incident when he shot her through the chest to kill Vicar behind her. Instead of dying, Seras chose to live and accepted becoming a vampire. From that point on, she joined the Hellsing organization and began working under Sir Integra. At first, she struggled with her new vampire identity, refusing to drink blood and trying to hold on to her humanity. But over time, and especially after the death of her love interest, Pip Bernadotte, she embraced her full potential and evolved into a real vampire. In the beginning, Seras is a servant vampire. That means she had a vampire's powers, super strength, speed, and regeneration, but not at full capacity. She carried around massive weapons like the 30mm Harkonnen cannon, which is as tall as she is and weighs over 80 kilograms, and later upgraded to the Harkonnen II, which weighs 300 kilograms with its belt box. These weren't just for show. She could blast entire squads of ghouls and vampires with ease, even while moving. Her speed and agility let her tear through enemies barehanded, and she could snipe enemies from over 600 meters away using her third eye ability, which gave her supernatural accuracy and helped her break illusions. Despite all this firepower, she held back from drinking blood, which caused her body to weaken. That all changed during the Millennium Invasion, when Zoran Blitz killed Pip. Seras finally drank his blood, absorbed his soul, and became a real vampire. Her power skyrocketed. She could now regenerate her destroyed body parts, fly using wings made of shadow, and punch off the captain's arms in a single blow. She even gained the power to summon Pip as a familiar in combat, and used him to help land the final hit on the captain. Her left arm, once lost in battle, was permanently replaced with shadow matter like Alucard's, which she could use to form spikes, wings, and even copy Alucard's outfit later on. Mina Harker. Mina started out as a human, just a regular school teacher, who got caught up in the events of Dracula, the classic novel by Bram Stoker. She was engaged to Arthur Holmwood and close friends with Lucy Westenra, but everything changed when Count Dracula showed up. Dracula became obsessed with Mina and performed a blood ritual where he drank her blood and forced her to drink his, turning her into a vampire. This also created a telepathic link between them. Eventually, with the help of Abraham Van Helsing and a small team, Dracula was hunted down and destroyed, which somehow allowed Mina to return to being human. She went back to her fiancé Arthur and tried to live a normal life, but that wasn't the end of her story. In the Hellsing universe, her body never fully decayed. Even after death, her corpse still carried Dracula's essence at the microscopic level, keeping it preserved. It was so resistant that even holy water couldn't purify it completely. That's because she had drunk Dracula's blood, Alucard's blood technically, making her the only vampire who ever did that and lived to return to being human. Fast forward to the main timeline of Hellsing, and the Nazi group Millennium ends up finding her corpse. They dig her up and experiment on her remains. The professor from Millennium uses her to create artificial vampires, also known as freaks. Even though Mina never comes back to life, her body becomes one of the keys behind the Nazi vampire program. Her corpse is kept in the Millennium compound, wrapped in bandages and strapped down like some ancient artifact. There's even a creepy touch added. The metal seal in her skull has SS Gestapo Gestapo written on it, which links her remains to the Nazi secret police. During the final battle in London in 1999, Walter C. Dornes attacks the professor and accidentally exposes Mina's skeletal remains. This is the last time we see her, as the explosion of the Deus Ex Machina ends up destroying her body completely. It's a quiet end, but important. It closes the book on one of the most bizarre and tragic figures in Hellsing lore. While Mina doesn't fight like Arukard or Seras, she's still a powerful vampire in her own way. She's the only one who shared a mutual blood ritual with Arukard and survived. Her body was powerful enough to stay preserved for decades, and her remains helped create an entire army of vampires, even after death.